That's right, trucking giant Yellow ceased operations over the weekend. That means 30,000 people are out of a job today. It's a blockbuster fraud case Elizabeth Holmes is set to appear in court tomorrow. If you're curious how some complete strangers are splitting the bill, well, I have some bad news for you. Venmo is ending their public social fee. Candidates across the country are vying for seats in state houses and city halls like the one right behind me. That's right. Starting with the basics here, the U.S. economy added 263,000 non-farm payrolls. That's shy of what economists expected. In fact, Dow Jones forecasted 275,000 jobs. Now, this suggests a few things, and one of which is there is some growth in the job market, but a lot of people are still being left behind. Let's take a look at the specifics. Like the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, the Union Square holiday market is a symbol that the holidays are here in New York City. Today we're in my kitchen to talk about an issue facing consumers just like you and me. It's called shrinkflation, and you may have noticed it. For example, this bottle of Gatorade is a little bit smaller than it was just this time a year ago. And it's impacting all kinds of consumer products, even my dog's food. Navigating the housing market these days is difficult for just about everyone involved, including the lending agents that are trying to help you get the best mortgage possible. Here's Colin Clark, an agent in Texas, about what he's seeing.
You know, one of the things that we saw in the last couple of years, I'm sure a lot of people remember, is home prices have been going up unlike ever before, and mortgage rates were historically low, also unprecedented. And so when we've started to go back into a normal marketplace, one of the things that we're seeing is a lot of sticker shock for people because those home values are still quite a bit up, but mortgage rates are also increasing.
His points here are not limited to the Lone Star State. In fact, this is an issue just about everywhere across the country and arguably around the globe. The fashion industry generally isn't known for being inclusive, but this event at New York Fashion Week is challenging that. For those in wheelchairs, missing limbs, or have developmental disabilities, putting their pants on one leg at a time is easier said than done. Clothing options have largely been made for the able-bodied person, yet the disabled population is the largest minority group in the United States and around the world. That's spurring growth in a relatively new niche of the fashion industry. It's called adaptive fashion. A New York Fashion Week event put on by the group Runway of Dreams showcased the work of some large brands who moved further into this space with products like snap-on shirts and zip-up shoes. Those include Steve Madden, Target, and Kohl's.
We're here to provide solutions and really create and bring attention to what we see as a really underserved consumer and hope that we can do our part in a really significant way.
The event showcased blossoming clothing options for those facing physical challenges in a way that improves confidence and quality of life at the same time.
It's very important that individuals like myself get an opportunity to showcase our abilities and showcase that we're a part of fashion just like anyone else.
Inclusivity also means more work for the models representing this space that have been largely ignored by the industry.
People with disabilities can have jobs as models, and it's just an honor. I get emotional just talking about it.
Reporting from New York Fashion Week, I'm Andy Hirschfeld. Day 2 of Goldman Sachs' Small Business Summit in Washington, D.C. Today, it's at Nationals Park. We spoke to a handful of small business owners as well as lawmakers about the issues impacting this community. The small business economy is growing. The people at this event know it. Entrepreneurs from coast to coast met with lawmakers from across the political spectrum. Inflation is top of mind for small business owners in Utah.
So our raw material costs are up over 40%. Obviously, that's a huge impact. I'm not able to increase my prices as quickly as our vendors have.
Pennsylvania.
Some of the costs have gone up, but we manage it, and because it's happening to everybody, I think everybody's understanding.
And Maryland.
Cost of goods are going up, which just increases how much money we need to spend as a small business. So it's definitely affecting our bottom line.
When it comes to politics, lawmakers either play the blame game.
Well, unfortunately, inflation is being caused by Washington. and it's being caused by out-of-control spending, trillions in spending and trillions in debt. When you print trillions of new dollars, what you do is reduce the value of your savings, of my savings, and you drive up the cost of everything. The way to get inflation under control is we've got to stop the out-of-control spending in Washington that Joe Biden and the Democrats are pushing.
Or pose solutions to global inflation.
One would be to increase our labor supply by increasing the number of visas that we provide to legal immigrants into our country. That helps on the labor front. On the energy front, there are also things we can do to make sure that we're developing and producing as much energy as possible. I would note the largest oil and gas producer in the world is the United States of America.
This amid Biden's historically low approval rating. According to a recent Quinnipiac poll, that's at 31%. Supply chain concerns also hitting home. This for business owners across multiple industries. Rent, another major concern, both for residential and commercial real estate. This as prices surge in 93 of the 100 largest cities in the country. Legislatures have posed their possible solutions, including this from the Democratic senator in the state of New York.
And so we have several programs that we're hoping to get voted on. One is to change what percentage of poverty are eligible for affordable housing. That would make a lot more people eligible in places like New York City. And also trying to create more incentives to get more affordable housing built.
The question is, will it happen? In Washington, I'm Hirschfeld reporting. The story of Canter Fitzgerald is one of American resilience. 22 years ago today, the financial services company lost a third of its workforce. That was during the terror attack that rocked this nation to its core. At the time, its headquarters was in the World Trade Center. The financial services company occupied the 101st and 105th floor of the North Tower. That's just above where the plane hit that fateful morning. But like the American creed, a setback is not the end all, but rather an opportunity to come back stronger and better than ever. That's the ethos at Canter Fitzgerald's charity event.
This day is really important to me because it makes it uplifting in order to do good in the world and to come together as a community and show our resilience after 22 years. And also, when this day is over, we get together with all of our families and we memorialize those we love.
Every year since, the company raised funds for charities with the help of celebrity ambassadors. Today, all global revenue went to philanthropic efforts. Celebrities ranging from music icons
when I rhyme, I never quit, and if I got a new rhyme, I'll just say it,
to even a former president. Canter Fitzgerald hoped to raise somewhere between $8 to $12 million today. Since the program's inception, it raised more than $380 million. In New York, I'm Hirschfeld reporting. I want to start with this organized crime issue that you're dealing with in San Francisco, which is where you represent. You introduced some legislation, bipartisan legislation, to take this issue on, and you just put additional pressure on the FBI. What does this look like?
Look, we're seeing...
I want to start with your carbon neutrality pledge. You're aiming by 2050, but there are a lot of other companies that are much larger and do things that are significantly more polluting that have much more ambitious timelines. For example, Apple is expected to reach carbon neutrality by 2030, as does Microsoft. Amazon by 2040, FedEx by 2040, and GM, a car company, is going carbon neutral by 2040 as well. That comes on the heels of this troubling UN climate report that said that essentially we have about 10 years to address the effects of climate change. So why is your pledge by 2050 of particular note? In your testimony, were there any responses that you got from any state legislatures that particularly stood out to you?
There was a lot.
That's some fascinating advice there from a broadcast legend. The Tribeca Film Festival is ongoing and will run until the 18th. In New York, I'm Hirschfeld reporting.